Let's talk about Waitress. I know nothing of it, so I'm looking forward to hearing your review and all the details.
Well, an interesting movie. It's unfortunately it has a sort of sad notoriety in it that it was written and directed by Adrienne Shelley, the actress and filmmaker who sadly died, and this has kind of lent a bittersweet side to it. I mean, it's very, very tragic that she's not here to see the movie doing as well as I think it deserves to do, despite some critical drubbing. The story is a young woman living in a hick town working in Joe's Pie Diner. She makes pies. She makes different type of pies that sort of reflect her mood. So some of the pies are called, My Life is Really Rubbish pie, and another one's called I Want to Leave My Cheating Horrible Rat Husband pie. And at the very beginning of the movie, she discovers that she's pregnant. She then goes to her local clinic to meet her new doctor, who it just turns out is played by Nathan Fillion. Now, do you know who Nathan Fillion is?
No.
You ever see Serenity?
No.
Okay. Nathan, for anyone who has seen Serenity, right, Nathan Fillion is this very kind of lovely, handsome, down-home, charming kind of guy. And there's a certain audience who think Nathan Fillion, I really like him, I think he's really good fun. So anyway, in the case of Waitress, what then happens is that she then proceeds to have an inappropriate relationship with her doctor whilst trying to get away from her hideous husband, and meanwhile dealing with the issues of pregnancy. Now, some people have said, it's terribly twee, it's kind of, it's completely unbelievable, it's set in this sort of mom's apple pie world, and you don't believe that her spouse is abusive. Well, I think this is all nonsense. It is basically a sort of, an apple pie fairy tale. And I thought it was rather sweet and rather charming. There are things wrong with it. Occasionally the writing isn't, it's not, for example, as sharp as some of the Hal Hartley work. And yet, it is a film about a pregnant woman in which the pregnant woman is seen to be, a romantic lead. I mean, the doctor falls in, but that's central. It's about her relationship with her husband and her work and her child. I think there are certain things in it that, although it wants a little bit too much to be truthful in that sort of slightly heart-wrenching way, I think there are things in it that are observant. I think it's a very good portrayal of her hideous husband, whose main worry with her being pregnant is that she won't love him as much as she'll love the baby. He doesn't realise that she doesn't love him anyway, because he is a total pig of a man and deserves to be left at the earliest possible opportunity. And I have to say, notwithstanding the tragedy of the filmmaker themselves not being here to see this success, I was genuinely touched by it. I thought it was a charming and interesting little film, and I cannot understand why it is that some of the broadsheet reviews have been as harsh on it as they have, because I thought there was a lot to say in its favour. The only one qualifying thing I should say is I tend to love any film which has a sort of 50s style flavour to it, in which people are working in a diner that's run by a guy with a really, really good DA and a balding quiff. So I was kind of sold from the opening.
I think over the last couple of weeks we've seen the soft underbelly of Mark Kermode, and we talked last week about how you said there's nothing greater than crying in a darkened room.
And I did have a crying Waitress.
That's the key. If it made you cry, then I want to see it.
But it was one of those classic, tears of joy in the worst. But I did. I really did. I thought it was really, and it's got this lovely ending. And at the end of it, I went, and I could hear other people in the critics in the screening going, oh no, that's horrible, that's hideous. But I thought, no, it was really, really sweet and really charming.
Okay.
Not wonderful, but really well worth seeing.